We are just going live. We're a little early, so we are going to leave the stream open just to make sure we've got everything going on right. So I hope everybody can hear me well. Let's see if there's a way to see your comments. There we go. All right. It's almost time. So as we prepare for the reading today at 3 o'clock in 6 minutes, I'm going to shuffle the tarot as I think about this full moon energy. I am early, but it looks like I've got some of you already here. So, hey, Medicine Mama, I'm sending my love. If any of you who are already here have questions, type them into the comments. We're going to take a look. Hello, Sam, I am. Great to see you here. I am very early. I'm so happy you are here. If you have questions that are specific, you feel comfortable posting, let me see them. We're going to take a look at this full moon energy, as well as, what do we need to know? Keep asking that question over and over. We have had a lot of upheaval this year. We've had a lot of change, a lot of loss, a lot of challenges, a lot of adversity. We have been kicked to the curb in so many ways, so we'll let go of our bad habits and our strange and difficult ways of being. All right, I like that, Medicine Mom. I get chills. What do we need to help us softening? What do we need to release? Thank you. That's going to be right in there. Hey, Jaylene, I'm so glad to know that's you. I've got chills as you're coming on board here. We're in such, astrologically, this year has been such an upheaval. It is a movement into the Aquarian age, even though we've hit astrologically many things to bring us in that the last few years. We are in massive change, and I know that you felt it. Everyone I know, no matter how positive they are, that seem to have one challenge or another this year to face. Since I'm in the world of consciousness, as I know you are too, everyone's trying to keep their vibration as high. But what does that mean as we come upon the ending of this year? When we deal with loss, when we deal with seeing things that are unjust, when we are managing to just try to keep a job or pay our bills in the world, or we see that most of our world, our middle class is dealing with that, and our lower class. And, there's a lot of injustice that we've had to look at this year, from Black Lives Matter to COVID to just straight up people being harsh in their political differences. So we are in change. That is the good news. Whether it's astrologically, I look at that, or the cards that I pull, or in the guidances that come through the channeled paintings and writings that I do, we're in a good time with there is light at the end of the tunnel. We may not be completely out of it. We've got some challenges going on. But on the other hand, we are seeing what we can do to do this differently, to find a release as we are in an evolution and a revolution. It's not only cultural revolution, it's a spiritual revolution. So I'd like to say I am Katherine Skaggs, and I'm doing a full moon mythical goddess tarot reading on December 29th, 2020. And we're going to ask the goddesses, how do we let go of this past cycle as we graduate with this moon energy and come toward the end of a huge annual cycle with 2020 and many small cycles that have been about breaking down the patriarchy, breaking down ways of greed and separation, cleaning up our egos in the places where we've been judgmental, or we've felt judged, or we felt less than, or just all the various conflicts and fears that have come up. I see another one. Oh, great question, Jaylene. What does it mean to keep our vibration high? To remain present and in control of our emotion ocean, being of witness without looking away, speaking and doing the source thing when it was needed. Great comments, Jaylene. Great comments, Medicine Mama. I've contemplated this a lot over the years. I've had some health problems on and off over the years that I've conquered and then fallen back into some patterns. And being a spiritual teacher and just doing my best to do my own work, especially as empaths, when we hit emotional challenges, it feels like we're in the muck and it doesn't feel like we're in a high vibe. And that lends itself to criticism and to judgment, internally, externally. And I don't find a lot of compassion in it. So high vibration is that place where you feel great. It's that place where things are in flow. It's where you feel full of light, that your heart is open. You feel compassionate. And I do believe we can do that even when we're emotionally challenged. It seems contrary, but somewhere within this human walk, I find that compassion, even as an empath, when you feel the muck, can lift us up above the suffering and into a place of deepening of the heart space and the soul space to stay in love. Science, quantum physics is proving that the vibration of love and blessings and gratitude has a higher frequency energetically. They can measure it compared to anger. The work of Emoto, who did a series of studies on water crystals that were frozen, where you put the emotion of love into it and the positive blessings compared to toxic energy. So to keep our energy high amongst these challenges, I find is a constant dedication to our spiritual energy, to lifting up into the light, even when it's challenging, to cleaning off, to using tools from saging and smudging to singing, to get a different perspective, to vibrationally shift, to be held in compassion, and to create a safe place. So I want to invite you all into that safe and sacred container today. It's just right at 3:00. I'm looking forward to everybody who wants to join us today. We've been having a little conversation before we start the reading. So we've got some questions that we're going to infuse into this. If anybody has any more, hold them in your heart spaces, send them in the chat. But we're looking at how to soften these energies as we come through the portal of ending 2020, coming through this full moon in Cancer, which Cancer can help us to really come into that heart space if we move into the positive energy. It is very empathic. And so we need to move into our creative, heart-centered spaces. I know that as we end this cycle and complete, and then do some ceremony to let go. I always like that. We're going to ask the cards to show us the way. So what do we need to release? What can we lean into for 2021 to make it much better? What are the tools that we need as we change? So the first 3 cards I pull have to do with who we are in this time period as we sit at this full moon energy and having gone through so many challenges to come out into a new way of being. So who are we on this full moon? So great. I had creativity as a focus yesterday when I pulled cards. And as I begin today, we have Bridget. And she is a goddess of a Celtic goddess who's known for being a fire goddess and a creative goddess, a hearth goddess, but one who is full of alchemy and artistic ways. And she sits where the art card is here, the alchemy card. And so she tells us that we've come through this time to be a little better of alchemizing our circumstances. This is something we need to claim as we sit at this full moon energy, that we have creative powers to shape shift our reality. Hey, Holly, love to see you. Hey, Mark, that we need to really own this ability to take our situation, add love and intention and the power of our creative mind, our creative hearts, our creative spirits, and that creates a third thing. It changes everything, that we can capture the light, we can capture the energy of the divine as we do that, so that lead is turned into gold. This tells me that we've been doing some of that to have Bridget right in the center of who we are as we come out of this. So this is really good to see as we're at this full moon at the end of the year. We've had the crone of transmutation, crone of fire show up in several readings lately. She is telling me that we are coming out of the fire. We've been being purified by these challenging astrology times, by COVID. COVID is not just a terrible virus, it is actually this strange ally, adversarial ally to help us go deeper into taking care of ourselves, into being caring for all people, in providing a new and expanded way to do so. It looks different, it's been challenging, it's been frightening, and yet here we are coming out of the ashes of the fire as we end this year and come into the new year. So it tells me that we're strong, that we're wiser than we were when we began this year, and that we've been through a purification process that's going to give us great strength and ability to move forward. Now, I have another goddess in the part of this reading that is who we are as we sit here at the end of 2020 on this full moon, and we look at the new year. So we have Yemaya. Now, she's the oracle goddess. She is the goddess of the seas of the Caribbean, and she's this powerful lunar light. She's about intuition and knowing through your emotional, sensitive, empathic self. And she's the highest octave because she is the higher arcana. So she's here sitting next to Bridget and the crone of fire, telling me that we are much more centered in our spiritual selves, in our intuitive knowing than we were before. That these are our strengths. There's nothing negative sitting here in these cards as we begin this reading about who we are as we enter and ask these questions. So we need to trust our knowing. We need to trust the power of our lunar or subconscious connection, that we are the ones who are empathic and can know as we use our meditation, our shamanic journey work, and all the various ways that we connect to source. So that's a really powerful way to begin. All right, we've got 3 more cards that are about the big picture. So as we end 2020, this is the big picture of what we're letting go of and what we're moving into, in not just another 28-day cycle as we end this, with this full moon ceremony tonight, but as we enter into a whole new cycle for 2021 that is heavy on our minds as we enter into possibility and potential. How do we leave this year and move into something bigger? So this is the big picture that Spirit wants us to know about our new big cycle. So this is a great card, the Delight card. This is the fire card that is the 3 of card. It's a play on words, delight. And this is a joyful card that tells me through this fire of passion and purification, the big picture is that we are to come back into the light and to be delighted once again with who we are and what we can create. What is it like for you to really lean into that energy of being passionate again, of being delighted about your future? A lot of people haven't had any light this last year or have been in and out of it. So I encourage you as you end this year and move into the new year, write down some big goals for yourself about what brings passion for you. What brings you into the joy of the light? What brings you into this enlightened state of being that connects your inner joy, your inner light, to how you live as human on this earth? And how can we bring that to one another? I'm very strongly reminded as we enter these times and have gone through these great upheavals is that we are connected as human beings with all of our kin on this planet. And we need to be mindful of the golden rule that we need to care for each other as ourselves. We need to care for ourselves as we would give to another. That part of our delight is being able to grow together into a much more unified state that opens our hearts and brings that light through. So I just want to add that with the delight, because I'm delighted to be here with you. I'm delighted every time I get to read or to give a teaching or to share something with you online, and to know that we're still connected, even if you're not sitting in my studio space, and that there's more ways for us to come into unity. And that we all need that, no matter what our personal work is. All right. I have to tell you, this new year, the big picture is great. We've got Delight that was sitting there, and right next to that card, we have the Ace Ecstasy, which is awesome. This is the water suit. This is the seas. And this is all about emotional, ecstatic being. So this is all about that higher vibration we were talking about. We need to honor that emotional body. We've been cleaning it out. It's been messy. It's been chaotic and tumultuous. But this new year, this new cycle is not only about delight, but as we move into delight, we're going to move into more emotional joy and ecstasy and fluid way of being, heart-centeredness. And it's time. This is an ace in the deck. And all the aces, I have to tell you, Sage Holloway is here with us. I hear her in my head. She taught me this over and over as we created this deck, is that the aces are gifts from our angels. So every time an ace shows up in any one of the lower arcana suit, know that it's a gift. Know that there are blessings there. So this new year is bringing emotional blessings. It's bringing an opportunity for all of us to move into purity and ecstaticness within our very beings. Boy, have we missed that. So look forward to finding that and creating that as you set your intentions for the new year. Know that you're a divine creator and that you have the capacity to call that in, especially as we gather together in groups. We're stronger. To do it alone is important, to have your own clarity of who you are. But together we can, again, leverage this energy and expand it exponentially. So joyful hearts, ecstasy is part of our new cycle. I'm liking this already. We've got some great omens for the new year. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. All right, Mary Magdalene sits here with these amazing 2 lower arcana cards. And this is our goddess of initiation. So she is here to anoint us, to initiate us into this higher reality, into greater consciousness. I always like to say that she is the feminine Christ, and that in the Christian story, or in the early stories pre-Christianity, she anointed Jesus's feet. And in doing so, the way she could, she was actually a temple priestess. And she was a temple priestess in the temple of Isis. And she knew that she could come in and bring him into his next step. So she anointed him with putting spikenard and sacred oils on his feet as a way of honoring him and bringing him into the vibration of the Christ energy. So this is our destiny in this time. This is our destiny, that we are being initiated into a higher consciousness. So I encourage you, with your intentions for your new cycle, to put that into your dream, that it's not blasphemous, that it is actually your inheritance for being on earth right now as a light being, that you are here to know that feeling and sensation of an open heart, a generous heart, and a conscious mind, that you are here to be benevolent and to be a bestower of light. If you're watching this video, you are one who's come to get this message, to bring it through your life, to be the ecstatic one, to be the one full of light and delighted, and to be the one who's not only initiated, but by being full of light, you anoint others naturally because you carry that in your energy, whether you do it through words or actions or just by your presence. So I'd say that we're in for a big expansion in a beautiful way that is way better than last year, or this year, I suppose. We got lots of goddesses in every part of our reading so far. All right, so we have the next 3 cards in our reading have to do with what are our challenges, both in letting go and in moving into the new year to be in a new way, to let go of the suffering and to find some grace here, to find the light, to find the heart, and to return home to ourselves in a powerful and beautiful way. And what's really cool is we've got 2 major arcana here. One is the goddess Lilith. Now, if you don't know who Lilith is, let me tell you who she is. She is the first wife of Adam, which who knew? I didn't know that. And the way I grew up, I found that out quite a few years ago once I got into my goddess work. This is Aries energy, and this is about power. And Lilith in particular is about equality. She is about returning to your personal power, your spiritual power, about knowing who you are, about knowing that this is about an equal playing field for all beings. And I say all beings because I mean, we've all got to live here together in an equal way, in a respectful way, in a way that we're all free. And we're far from that. So, our challenges this next year are for us to stand up and to say no to the places where we aren't free, where we aren't equal, where we're not treated right, or where we don't treat ourselves properly, or if we mistreat another. We need to own that everyone gets a fair chance and everyone gets an equal chance. And that this is part of the work that we have to do. This is our lesson, both personally and collectively on a huge level. So don't let this be daunting, because Lilith has the power to fly away from places where she is not honored. She actually has a story where when she and Adam got into it, they were born equally of the same substance. And one of the things that happened was they weren't playing fair. Adam wasn't playing fair. He didn't want to be equal. He wanted to be the all-powerful guy. And so she called God and she said, "Hey, God, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this. So I'm out of here." So God gave her wings and talons and she flew away. And that actually was the place in the patriarchy where she began to get demonized, and the divine feminine began to get demonized when there was a demand for equality at that point in our history. So she is very symbolic of saying no to what doesn't work, of knowing who you are and saying, I get to be honored. And for us to each own this in a way that we can return to power that is respectful of one another, where we can cooperate and live in unity. She's very powerful, and we each need this. All right, and that's in the challenges or our lessons. So we're here to understand a return to equality and power. Now, Isis sits next to Lilith, and she is the high priestess in our deck. And Isis is the Egyptian goddess of fertility and birth. She's a benevolent goddess. She's also a goddess associated with death and resurrection. So she is a very important goddess to have here. She is telling me that as we sit here with our challenges and our lessons, it's really important that we learn to go back to ceremony, go back to that place of magic where we connect to source, both for creating what we want and through letting go of what we don't want, and then resurrecting ourselves into a better version of ourselves. I find that she is my mother goddess, who is very lunar and very solar. She's intuition. She yields the power of the divine, and she's here to help support us in regaining that in our own personal expression. So it's time to pray. It's time to light a candle. It's time to do meditation and mystical ceremonies or shamanic ceremonies, whatever calls you in your particular background or where you desire to be. How do you connect to the divine? And how do you yield the magic of creating your life from the mystical all the way down to the practical and ordinary? I'd call upon Mother Isis for that, to return you to your mystical magic and discover how to be more powerful in your life as you create anew. All right, so we have another card that is in this spread for our challenges or lessons, and this is Earth Fruition. And I find that this is probably a very important card for us to take a look at, since it sits in the challenges and the places that are our lessons right now. If you take a look at her, you see this woman has a basket full of fruit. She's just gone out and harvested an incredible bunch of fruit that she's taking home to share with all the people in her village. And it's full, it's overflowing. There's plenty, and this is about fruition. It's also about abundance. So we need to really take a look at our abundance. Right now, we have a lot of challenges financially. and resource-wise. We're very concerned for a lot of people in the United States and around the world who've been affected by COVID, by all the ups and downs financially. There's been so many ways businesses have gone out, and yet we are very abundant beyond anything we can believe that's just not shared with everyone. Now, I probably sound like a socialist, so take it for what it is. There's another way. And this card tells me there's another way to find our abundance. This is about gratitude and looking at the resources that we've already planted. It tells me that we have a garden full to harvest from. Now, the fact is, can we harvest it, share it with our families, take care of ourselves, share it with our communities, and find ways to resource for everyone? So we need to take a look in a new way about how everyone gets to be treated equally, how we all have enough, and how we can distribute that in a manner and create even more abundantly than we have before. Let's move our focus off the fear of financial destruction to solution finding and looking at our resources. Mother Earth has many resources. What new ways of being do we have that have resources that bless many? How can you go out and bless another through generosity? What do you have that you have enough of? And I'm telling you, it's not just money, it's just not things. It is your attitude, it is your heart, it is how you treat another every day and you look upon them compassionately. It's how you treat yourself compassionately. It's your skills and your gifts. What do you have to share that is a blessing with others? You will be abundant in your businesses and your way of life as you look at what you have to give and you really are honest about it. I bet you have more than you even know you do. And in these times, for all of you who are light workers, for all of you who do healing work or some sort of therapy or assistance that really help people consciously or with their energy, you're needed more now than ever. Now, you may need support, ask for it, give it. I'm going to be here for you as much as possible with all the things I can give. But how can you give from all your beauty to another? And it could be as simple as a kindness that absolutely changes the world. Even though we are, most of us, wearing masks and you can't see a smile, I can see your eyes, and I know when you smile that you bless me, and a kind word is a blessing. So see what you can do to embody that and work with that energy, because it's going to be a challenge this next year to really see where all that abundance is, and that's going to be our lesson, to really share what we have and to find the resources that are already here, because we do have enough. We just need to change things a little bit. All right, what action do we need to take to bring in healing, to soften the challenges of the last year so that we can move in clean and clear and with new heart spaces of delight and joy? Okay, so we have Crow Woman. We have a goddess or more than one in every section. So it tells me the divine is here with us on this full moon to support us. Crow Woman is sacred law, and she's in the action. She is an energy of balance, the Libra energy astrologically, that is the energy between the heavenly realm and the spirit world and the ordinary reality, human walking life, waking life. So this is about the mystery, the great mystery. It's also about the promise that what is ours is coming to us. Again, another teaching that Sage Holloway, the author of this deck and my dear co-creative friend who's no longer on this planet, taught me about Crow Woman is that she's this native goddess who flies into the world of spirit to bring back our gifts, that have been promised to us. So if you have karmic brownies coming to you, believe me, no person can keep that from you. No system, no government, nothing in this physical linear reality can keep you from your spiritual gifts. So as you lean into your heart's desires, as you lean into claiming what is yours spiritually, it will come to earth physically. Explore the mystery. I would like to see her and think of shamanic journey spaces deep meditations, going and exploring your dream time, looking for the gifts that are being given from the higher spiritual dimension, and knowing that they're being promised to come to earth. I also get the hit that this is about the astrology of the new year, bringing more and more blessings to us. It also is probably finishing some karma for those who are out of balance and not living in the light. Their due will come to them too. So, do your best to live in alignment with universal laws and truths. If you don't know about them, look them up. I've got a new book coming out, Artist, Shaman, Healer, Sage, coming this spring. It's going to have spiritual principles, shamanic principles, and universal laws in it, along with medicine wheel, a lot of other teachings to support you. But wherever you get it, I encourage you working with universal laws and principles so that you are aligned with your spiritual self, and know that now's the time that it's really about aligning with that, being present every day, being in the mystery of life, and trusting that what is yours is coming, that you're in the process. So, shamanic journey and places of going within. All right. Another goddess is here. So that's your action, as much as I've probably given you other actions. All right, Sophia. So these cards go well together. We've got Sophia, the Mother of God. She's the wise woman in the Tarot deck in the major arcana. And she is here bringing the blessings of the Christ energy, of this higher divine golden light energy, to bless us and to bring us into wisdom. What this card's sitting here is that meditation, that shamanic journey space, deep dream spaces and reflections are very important so that we grasp the wisdom from our experiences that we've gone through. It's very important that we reflect and look upon every experience and say, what can I get out of that? Whether it was awesome or whether it was the most challenging dark night of the soul experience you've ever gone through, I'll guarantee you that there's a gift with it. And when these two cards sit beside each other, if you will do this work to be in gratitude for your experiences and look through them, what are you getting out of them? Are there old patterns that are being revealed to you that are not healthy? Are there ways that you can look at them and clean that experience and take the blessing out of it? And really go into the mystery that everything is divinely orchestrated, that there's something that your soul wants to grow, that this time of this last year has been filled with growth as hard as it's been. And this is time to really reflect as you go into the new year so that you get all the gold out of the last year, out of the last cycles, every challenge you've gone through. What can you reflect upon and say, I got this out of that? And if you're still working on that, bless it, put it on your altar, and then come back to it and know that it will be revealed to you even if you don't know now. So wisdom is very important for us to use our reflective times so that we'll be wiser as we make choices for the new year and the new cycle. If you don't know how to be more compassionate for yourself, ask for the wisdom. If you need more abundance, ask for the wisdom. If you need greater health, ask for the wisdom. When you meditate and contemplate on these things, I will guarantee you the goddesses and the guidances from your spirit guides and helpers and your higher self will absolutely show up as you do your best to be present, that it will be given to you and that you have faith and trust to work on that right now. All right. The Maiden of Seas, Pleasure, is here in the action next to these two amazing goddesses that tell me as we work with our emotional intelligence, our heart energy, then, okay, I see somebody needing more compassion for others. Yes, ask for that. We'll work on that. We'll do some healing coming up in the next week. You can join in on that if you like. All right, so we have the Maiden of Passion, if I can speak properly here. So it tells me that we have the need to really go into our heart's desires as we set the energy for the new year and as we clean off the old year. What do you really desire to be passionate about? What does your heart have desire for? Is it closed or is it open to possibility? Do you need a healing? Do you need compassion? Do you need to play again? What do you need to feel that you can be passionate once again? So, to explore that with your intentions and how you want to move forward, that would be a great place to work with. Grab some rose quartz and put on your heart some essential oils of rose, flower waters of rose. I like to call in the spirit of Marosa or work with a flower water called Pusanga. I'm going to teach you about those in the new year and how to make those or how to find those to work with. So bring in fragrances of the heart. Rose medicines are excellent. There are other essences, flower essences, and flower waters and essential oils that might be important for you to explore, to soften your heart, to allow you to be in your heart again, to trust that your heart can want. You know, when I look at Lilith and the challenges, I think of not only equality, but what is our havingness quotient? What do you allow yourself to receive? Can you be in pleasure and passion again? These are great things to contemplate as we leave a year that's been challenging and we invite in a whole new vibration and experience that is pleasing to our hearts, that is pleasing to how we relate to one another, that is pleasing to ourselves, that brings incredible passion once again that we can act on in every part of our lives, whether it be personal relationships or it be group relationships, family relationships, or even the way that we show up at work. How can you be passionate? Your heart has a GPS for your soul. It knows the way. So explore that so that you can move into a new cycle and find a different outcome and experience than we had in 2020. We all desperately need and want that. All right, so I've got 3 cards left in our reading today. This is the end result, or what we need to know is possible if we will act on the guidance that came here, both, you know, to answer the question of letting go and moving into this new cycle, you know, absolutely holding us in a new way of being that allows us to be in greater harmony and to really feel this golden age, to explore the possibility of that. All right, so we have Pele as the center of our outcome. So it tells me, with her sitting in the center, is that when we come through out of 2020, we're going to have lot of cleaning that we've done, but also this is about coming out of 2020, entering into 2021 and what we're going to create. So the power of fire, the power of sacred destruction is going to be an important thing that we learn from, that we can honor as we look upon the last year and all the destruction, the loss, the challenges that have been there. Pele tells me that the house is being burned up that created all that suffering so that we can come out with a new life, that we can come out with new land and greater sense of self-respect and respect for one another. Look for that in your lives. Pele is this Hawaiian goddess who, when the volcanoes show up, the stories that I learned is that the volcano came when man disrespected the land. And so Pele would get angry and she would bring the lava to come across and to purify that disrespect. But the thing is that she brought new land. That lava created islands and new land that was very fertile for the people. So we are coming out of destruction. We're coming out of a purification process. And it tells me that we have the promise of new life, new land that can be born of this purification that brings greater self-respect, respect for all our relations, respect for the earth, respect for our bodies, our food, our waters, our air. It's time that we live in greater harmony, and Pele's here to welcome us into this new cycle and to encourage us to build anew from a purified place of being with incredible sense of respect and connectivity. All right. Now we've got the maiden clarity. That is the maiden of wind that comes in the outcome. Now she is focused. She is a maiden who's very focused. She is the mind. And this is the capacity of the mind to be focused on what it desires. So it tells me as we come out of 2020 into 2021, very, very important. Use this information to focus on your heart's desires so that your mind can help you bring your desires into form. Your mind is a vehicle, and the better you can focus on what you desire, the more you'll get what you want. When that's lined up with your emotional body and your emotions are excited, the two come together and physical manifestation occurs. You get really excited and passionate, and that mind is focused on a desire. I'll guarantee you, you'll be a very good manifester. Those are two key important pieces. So get clear as you end the year. What do you really want? This reading is all about that. Coming into your power, coming into compassion, looking at your wisdom, looking across the past year and all in your cycles. What do you want to take from that? What's the goal do you want to enter into the new year with? And what are you leaving behind? Focus clearly on what you want so that you can create this new life. Very important. That's an action, but it's also an outcome if you look at the recommendations that have happened so far. All right, another important card. We're dealing with the emotions again, and this is the Child of Seas. And the word on this card is innocence. She came up the other day in a reading where you see all this incredible chaos of the ocean, and she's inside of a shell, very safe, peaceful. And it tells me that we're coming through the storm. The storm's not quite done, but we're coming through the storm and we're completely safe in our innocence. It's a return to innocence and purity, a return to that childlike nature where our hearts are cleaned of the chaos, and that we return to the sense of safety once again. And from that, we can create more clearly and cleanly with these cards. The reflection is we're coming out of this. And so trust that you're okay. Trust that you're going to be okay, and focus on your ecstasy and delight. Know that you're being initiated into an incredible new cycle of possibility, and trust spirit if you can. Do your best to trust that you're making changes. You're being challenged so that you can be different, so that you can dream more clearly, so that you can manage your mind and your emotions with greater compassion and heart, that you can show up in this world and become more objective and neutral to the challenges so that you can love and be loved more deeply. So I thank you for letting me share today. It is awesome to see you show up on here. I will be offering a live painting, if I get my act together, on New Year's Eve. I'm going to be putting that up soon so that if you want to see me channel in some energy to clear out 2020 and to bring in guidance for 2021, that's the plan. I just don't have it up yet, but I'll let you know. And I look forward to seeing you here more often. I love you all. I bless you all. And I thank you all for being here. I hope.